to be sat here now is a dream come true for me.
Right, time for deal or no deal. Pochettino wants to be called a head coach, not a manager. Is that a reflection of how the big clubs really work? And can they reach the heights that Spurs can they reach the heights that they hit last season again this year? Should Pochettino just accept that, like, he is a head coach and not a manager, or is this actually him trying to curry favour with the fans because, you know, this mess isn't his creation, it's the guys above?
It's kind of the first time you've seen him and there's not been real cohesion with him and Levy for, like, I've not seen him really be outspoken. He's not said anything against the board, but be outspoken against it, because even when the last two windows, when they haven't signed somebody, he's not been that vocal really about it. He's kind of been happy with the squad he's had. So to come out and say this now, he's trying to distance himself from the players that have been signed, because maybe he's watched them in training. I don't know. He could have watched them in training and thinking, I don't want to be associated if these don't turn out to be the club, you know, record transfer. It doesn't turn out to be as good as what we think it's going to be.
What was the line before the Champions League final? It's going to be, or before the semi-final, second leg against Ajax rather. He said 4 or 5 years before we challenge. The line before the Champions League final saying, I'm just going to go home if we win this.
Yes,
I don't know. I think that there's been a cryptic nature to some of the things he said, and in this case, I think it's not so cryptic whatsoever. I think the answer to your question is clear. He's sending a very distinct message to Daniel Levy. I actually have a suspicion here that there is a bit of a war going on for Paulo Dybala, and he realises now that Manchester United have won this battle if he's coming to the Premier League, and he's not happy about this one bit. And he is sending a message to the top that, you know, Ndombele was great. It was brilliant to break our record signing. You know, sign a player for the first time in 500 days or whatever it was at the start of the transfer window. But the last month has not been good.
No,
they need more.
They've tapered off, haven't they? And they haven't improved their squad as much as people would have liked to have done. Especially that the fact that they were in the Champions League final, that would have given them a platform to sign players that they may have thought would have been out of their reach, because they said they've reached the highest point in club football. Yeah,
the only counter argument is that if they get out of this transfer window keeping Christian Eriksen, then it's a good window. It's like, I mean, it's not the same as a new signing, but it's as good as, because if they lost him and they signed Dybala, there's this like settling in period. You don't know if it's going to work or not. Everybody knows Christian Eriksen's going to be a success for Spurs. The full season in the new stadium next year.
And even Toby Alderweireld as well. Him, if he doesn't go, I think that's a big plus for them, because he's a very good defender, and they need to have players like that in their squad. And I think with his fee has changed, hasn't it? So it's gone from being a 25 million buyout clause to like 37, because we're in the last few weeks. So that might put people off as well. But
why did nobody's pay 25 million? I know.
You think Man U would have actually...
Most confusing thing that's happened this window.
Like, why did Man U not go in and take him? Like,
doesn't make any sense.
He would have been perfect for Manchester United. Ball playing centre back, who's aggressive, you know,
a quarter of the price of
what Harry Maguire is, and and he's a proven track record in the Premiership.
So I just don't understand it.
It's potentially an age thing.
Yeah, I think it is age thing. I think they want someone that's going to... But Harry Maguire is... I mean, he's not like I know he's not 30 odd, but he's 27, isn't Maguire? 20?
Yeah, you will get a few. You get the full contract out of him anyway, you'd imagine, but Alderweireld, you wouldn't get that. It'd be kind of like a short-term fix. But still, I find it ridiculous that nobody came in.
Spurs season last year, did the reaching the Champions League final paper over a little bit the fact that they weren't in any way competitive when it came to a title race?
I think it did, but then also the levels that City and Liverpool showed were beyond what anybody expected them to be able to do last season. Like, for Liverpool to not win the league and do what they did was phenomenal. For Man City to have won it is just beyond belief that they're able to sustain that level throughout the season. So for Tottenham to have tapered off a bit towards the end, and they were in it up until 3 or 4 months from the end, they were like pushing and pushing, but they were just always falling a little bit short. Like, the Champions League final was probably the best they were going to do, and if they had won that, then that would have been just amazing. But they you know, it was a sign that them not getting to the levels with the show that they needed to bring in some extra players, and that was the opportunity for them to go, right, Champions League final, great, we got there, we've got to a final of a major tournament, which we haven't done really. So league, are we going to push for that? If we are, we're going to have to improve our squad, because City and Liverpool have improved their squad over the last few seasons and done it to great effect.
Harry Kane obviously missed a good portion of the end of the season last year, and they didn't really have enough strength and depth. I mean, obviously Lucas Moura came through with the hat-trick in the semi-final second leg, and maybe that is just their replacement, maybe that's his role in future, but you can see that they don't have enough strength and depth.
No, they don't. And like I said, even Dele Alli, who is, I think, for the last few months of the season, I don't think it was great at all. I think his form wasn't good. So if you have a player like him, who you would have thought if you had someone pushing him for his role, he may have either improved him or they would have been able to step in to take over. I know he was injured for a while as well, but no, they need to have players that can either push the team that are in front of them or step in when needed be. Son stepped up when Kane was out, and he was excellent for the games that Kane missed, and that was brilliant. And he obviously I think he performed better when Kane wasn't on the pitch, and they were the statistics. But they do need to improve their squad if they want to have any chance of getting to the title.
What's Daniel Levy thinking when he reads this? Because it's like, I'm not in charge. I know nothing about the situation of my players. I'm only coaching them, trying to get the best from them. These type of things that are going to happen or not happen, sell or buy players, extend contract or not extend contract. It's not in my hands. It's in the club's hands and in Daniel Levy's hand. At the moment, I'm managing the team in the best way possible. Maybe the club needs to change my title description now, because my job is to coach the team. I am the boss, designing the strategy to train, to play, the methodology, the philosophy in my area. But in another area, today, I think I'm the coach. I think it's important for the players to know. It's important for the people to know.
Because it changed the other way, didn't it? On his last contract, was he head coach when he was initially appointed?
Yeah,
then he got made manager on his second contract. Yeah. So it's title is something that Mauricio Pochettino cares about deeply, I think, and the status of the manager and the cult of the manager, or now the cult of the head coach. Yeah,
and what the manager job entails. He thinks the manager should be running everything with not day-to-day business, but like transfers in there. He feels like he should have a real say in it. Obviously, he's not had that much of a say, but Tottenham have always been a club that have either had a director of football or someone that's been so that regardless of who's in charge of the team, they have their own philosophy that takes them forward. And but this is it's worrying signs, because you don't want to lose him, and you don't want to you don't want to like be, and you guarantee Levy would have given him a call straight away after that, because Levy is not he's a feisty character, so he wouldn't have been happy with it. But it's Tottenham don't want to have the manager not happy being at the club, because if anybody you want to keep at that club, it's him.
Yeah, because he's kept that together over the last couple of years, and there's been clear signs of progress. Gareth Bale has been sensationally included in Real Madrid's promo shoot for their beautiful new intense green third kit. Is this a sign that Gareth Bale is staying? There's the kit. He looks happy, doesn't he? Very happy, Gareth Bale.
Latest to be at Real Madrid.
What is this crap? I can't believe I have to do it, is what that look says.
It's such a strange one. Like, I can understand they wanted the money for him so that they could bring in other players, and they felt that he was probably a big asset to sell. He's still a talent, like he's still a good player. He's still but if it just depends on what his body language is around the place and if he's moping about. But it seems like the talk now is that they're saying that he might see out Zidane, which is crazy. Zidane's only taken over in the last 6 months, so it's unbelievable to think that now it could be turning around for him.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought about that possibility until there's a good chance he might see out. I mean, it's Real Madrid. Their manager changes every 6 months.
Like, there's every chance that Zidane's second tenure is just a disaster.
Oh yeah.
Just because it happened the first time does not mean it's going to happen the second time, especially because they don't have Ronaldo. And also let's face it as well. Like, I mean, if you had to turn to one other player outside of Ronaldo in the biggest moment, it was obviously Gareth Bale when they did the 3 in a row.
I think Eden Hazard's going to be good for them.
Oh, he'll be excellent. Yeah,
it's true. I think
actually kind of a stick about saying he's overweight and stuff, but I don't know. I think Eden Hazard's one of the best players in the world, so I think he'll be fantastic for them.
You look at someone like Jovic. Then obviously unbelievable last year in the Europa League, brilliant in Bundesliga. I don't know. As soon as he signed for Real Madrid, I was like, if this was the level of players they were signing in the Galactico project at its peak, there might have been a few eyebrows raised. Now, I do think it's a good football signing. I think that they needed a number 9. Yeah. But I've just got my doubts about whether or not he's going to hit the ground running. He's obviously not going to hit the ground running because he's currently injured. But in terms of actually when he gets back to full fitness, I've got a few concerns about that in terms of how Real Madrid have actually dealt this window. And I think the way they treated Gareth Bale is a mistake.
No, it's shocking, because you don't treat what he's done for the club, and then again, not just talking about statistics, but when you see the goals he scored in games he's played and the important goals he scored, he's done so much for them in a short space of time. He's won so much with them in a short space of time. So to be completely dismissing him and almost pushing him out the door in the way that they have done, and so publicly, that's well,
they didn't exactly help themselves when it came to negotiating a fee. No. Like, you don't want him. You're going to give him to us at the last minute for a knockdown price because you want rid of him.
Yeah, like Zidane literally said, it will be great if he left tomorrow.
Yeah, like it's
What's it like when somebody in the squad, everybody knows they want out and they're at training? What's that like? Is he getting? Is everybody taking the piss out of him? Is it like?
Depends on the character. Like I've been at teams where you've had players that they want to leave and they've gone about it the right way. They just kind of gone about their business, and behind the scenes done what they needed to do to get themselves out. And then I've been with teams where other players have just come in and literally tried to like piss about in training and mess and do things that they shouldn't really do and be just a negative impact on the team. And even if you would be friends with them, and you'd still see that they've changed slightly because they're determined to get this move, and it's not something that they should really do. But like I said, the lads are professional. You have to hold your hats off to them because in the end it works out. But a few of the guys I've been around, it's not nice when they're just throwing their toys out of pram and being like I said, just being a nuisance around the change room.
Yeah. Okay. Free agency. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about this because a bunch of players are letting their contracts run down. But I've long had the theory, if I was a professional footballer, if I was an agent, that I would be getting my clients short contracts, 2-year deals, and backing them, maybe getting some insurance against career-threatening injury, and so that you're the one with the power constantly.
So you have a free. Well, that's obviously the thing as well. If you're signing for a team, teams want security, so they're going to want to try and tie down a long contract. So it's that happy medium, whereas you want to sign for them, and if the team are willing to sign you, they're going to want to have some sort of control over it. They can't just, you can not going to leave in 2 years from now, or they're not going to have to offer you a crazy deal in 2 years from now if they're giving you a good one at the end. But as a player, I said free contracts. I've been the benefit of one. When I was at Birmingham, I was doing really well, and I kind of let my contract run down, and I was happy to stay at Birmingham. But
did they talk to you? Did they come to you and say, "Here, listen, we've noticed you're out of contract in a couple of months"?
They spoke to me about it, and at the time, Birmingham were going through a bit of a transition. They were selling the club to so they were kind of all over the place behind the board. So for me, it worked in my benefit because the club was going in a direction that I wasn't really keen on, and Steve Bruce had left, and so I was like, okay, this is probably not for me. I went on loan to Stoke, who were in the Premiership at the time, and stayed there for 6 months, and then it was supposed to be that I was to sign for Stoke, but I was on a free at the end of the season. So when the Stoke deal finished, then I knew I had quite a few options, and I ended up signing for Fulham, which was great. We went to the Europa League final, which was brilliant. So that was a real benefit for me, and How
long was the deal at Fulham?
3 years.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 years. So it was perfect, absolutely ideal for me. I went back to London. I'd been in London from Tottenham when I was a kid, and I'd been in Birmingham for 3 years, so it was great, and that worked well in my favour. But it's just some of those things that I think some players can make the most out of them at times, and the clubs obviously are going to lose out if they don't tie people down. Like with Hazard, they had to sell him now because they knew that next season he was going to be in a free, and they were going to lose a commodity.
If you're Eden Hazard, though, do you not play that last year out at Chelsea and then cash in? Because the transfer fee is what you can walk in and say, I'm saving you 100 million.
You can try and demand, yeah.
I'm like, how much of that are you going to give me, lads?
Yeah, you could do, but then
we don't see players do that a lot.
No, because players, they know that something could happen within that space of that year. What if Hazard is going to, like, I think Real Madrid still would have signed him if he'd injured, but if he had a bad injury towards the end of the season, the deal could have been less than what he was offered before. If they're chasing him and hounding him and he wants to play for them, he knows that he's going to get how many 100,000 a week, and it's not going to really be affected by whether you wait for a free transfer or not. It's not at that level, I don't think.
Yeah, okay, because we see this in the NBA where the players run down their contract and then they become completely powerful.
Yeah.
But like obviously you kind of have the absence of transfer fees and all that over there, and it's all based on the contract and actually kind of honouring that a little bit more. Like, I wouldn't be feeling too sorry for the players and the agents here in particular. I mean, they're making a pretty penny out of all of this. But it's interesting. Like, it's not a tactic that I don't think we do see that too much. I mean, like, the probability of a huge career-ending injury is still actually quite small. Like, it happens, but it's quite a small thing.
Yeah, especially with the advances in, like, you don't see lads, like, years ago people do cruciate ligament and that would be them. Now people come back from these injuries all the time, and they don't seem to have the same issues that they would have had going forward because it's not the crazy injections that people would have had. But it's still something that, you know, people don't like to take chance, and if there's an opportunity to go to a team now, then they will take that and they will go because they'll feel like it's just the right way about doing it, and they feel better about themselves.
Yeah, okay. A couple of other quick ones. What's it like to be at a club and watch a big money signing struggle? You know, we've all seen transfer busts over the years. it tends to happen a lot at the mid-tier clubs who pay a little bit more maybe than they should for a player. He can't handle it, or maybe it wasn't enough research done on the character. Sasa Churchic.
The biggest one I had, remember Sergei Rebrov?
Yes,
Tottenham.
yes.
So he was the club
11 million, or
yeah, he was the club record at the time, which sounds like absolute buttons now in comparison to it. But yeah, he was the club record at the time and came in and like around the training ground and player. He was excellent footballer, like technically brilliant, small little guy, aggressive, banging goals in training, but just didn't do it on the pitch. Just never scored goals the way he should have, and he should have been he was a big signing for them, and it just never turned out the way it was. And then you could just see his confidence went. He was getting frustrated with himself, and the pressure was building. And being at Tottenham and White Hart Lane is this enclosed space, and it was not an easy place to play if the fans are a little bit, but they had high expectations of him. So it was that was the one I would have seen the most fail.
And was there anything that anybody could have done?
Not really. I think he'd come from Italy. Was it Italy he'd come from, or was it Ukraine? I can't remember. Was it Italy or Ukraine?
I'm not sure where he comes from directly.
But I don't think anybody could have really helped him anymore. Like the club would have done everything in their power to try and help him settle in, whether it be relocation and housing and all that sort of stuff. It was just, I think culturally it was different for him. He didn't really get the language that quickly. So he didn't pick up English, and that wouldn't have helped because he didn't really...
Came straight from Kiev.
Yeah, Kiev, there you go. He didn't really fit into the training ground. Not fit in, like he was a nice guy, but he wouldn't have been integrated into the team philosophy and probably gone for dinner with the lads and stuff like that. It just wasn't him, and he kind of kept himself, so that made it a bit more difficult, I think.
Yeah, okay.